Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a good day. Today I'm going to talk about 5 games that I think work really well on the Steam Deck. I think would be a really good time and are good games for anybody to pick up if you've just got a Steam Deck or if you've had one for a little while. I think they're just good all-rounders to play. So the list is in no particular order. I'm not going to waffle, we're going to dive straight in, and the first game is the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Now, the Mass Effect Legendary Edition is actually unsupported on the Steam Deck. If you have a look on the Steam store, you'll see the little, circled, crossed out symbol. It's unsupported. So why am I recommending it? Well, it actually works fine, you see. The reason that it's unsupported is that there's a launcher that you have to go through, EA's launcher, and because of this, Valve immediately classes this game as unsupported because the experience isn't as smooth as it could be. In reality though, it's actually fine, it works okay. There was a little bit of an issue at the time that I first got my Steam Deck, and what happened was EA had changed their launcher and it kind of messed up how it launched through Proton. Now though, it runs absolutely fine, you can play it, no problem at all. It can be a little bit slow to load, but if you just stick with it, then you get through. And once you have got through, then you've got all 3 Mass Effect games at your fingertips in a handheld device, which is crazy to me. If you haven't played them before, heck, even if you have played them before, these are some of the best RPGs that have been created in the last couple of decades. If you have any love at all for space games, if you have any love at all for deep characters, deep lore, the worlds are incredible, the systems that are built around it are really, really, really powerful, I think. If you're the type of player that likes making important decisions in games, where your decisions actually matter, well, this could be the game for you because the decisions you make in the trilogy really, really are important. They kind of decide, who lives and dies, they decide, what happens to certain races sometimes. That's huge, decisions like that is massive. And the game actually runs pretty well. I just sort of left it with the same settings that it came with out of the box, as it were. I changed the screen refresh rate down to 40Hz just to save a bit of battery, and it runs absolutely fine. Each of the 3 different Mass Effect games are kind of loved for different reasons. The first one is sort of like being immersed in the world, the second one is a great story, that kind of thing. But honestly, if you can get all 3 of them in the Legendary Edition, you're going to have so many hours of great game to play, and I think it's incredible that nowadays we can play Mass Effect on a handheld, so that's my first great game to play on Steam Deck. Okay, so moving on, game number 2. There's actually another unsupported game, and this is LEGO Star Wars The Clone Wars. Now, this is a bit of an older LEGO Star Wars game, and while I've picked The Clone Wars, I do think this can kind of extend to other LEGO games on the Steam Deck. It's unsupported again, and I've got to think that this is just because Valve hasn't got round to testing it, because I've not had any problems at all. I've been playing for a good few hours now, and no issues that I can see at all. It runs perfectly fine. 60 FPS the whole way through. The controller bindings are fine out of the box. I haven't had to tweak with those or anything like that. It gets good battery life, and it's just fun. Old LEGO games are fun. This may be the nostalgia talking because I did used to play a lot of LEGO Star Wars games as a kid with my brother, but I don't really like the direction they've gone in with the new ones. I thought I would really enjoy the Skywalker saga, for example, but it didn't really click with me. It's too... I don't know, it's too messy, I guess. I don't like the way you have to sort of walk between levels. That seems weird. You're not really sure what is a level and what's not a level sometimes. I really like how the old LEGO games do it, where you have one level, you finish the level, that's one nice segmented piece of gameplay, you go on to the next level, and it's separate. That's the kind of thing that I like. At least in a LEGO game. Not in all my games, but in my LEGO games, that's how I like it. And the Clone Wars is really good for that. And the good thing is that because you're running it on a smaller screen, you've got that 800p screen, it actually looks really nice on the Steam Deck. It doesn't look like an old game at all. It's not pixelated or anything like that. It looks really nice and it runs really well, so that's another one that I would recommend. If you're any kind of fan of a LEGO game and you like Star Wars, then that's kind of a perfect one. But I think the same can probably be said of other LEGO games, I just haven't got around to trying them yet. Okay, game number 3 is Persona 5 Royal, and this game is kind of incredible to have handheld. Persona 5 originally came out quite a few years ago now. It was a PS4 exclusive. They redid it with Persona 5 Royal, which originally also was PlayStation only, but now they've imported over to Switch and PC, and Xbox as well. Now, this is the kind of game where there's a lot of text and dialogue, and if you're not into that, then I understand, but if you are into that, it's kind of one of those great JRPGs. The gameplay is quite modern, so it's not too old school. You can get hooked on the gameplay. It looks really, really stylish, which is good. And one of the reasons why I think it's perfect to play on Steam Deck is there's a lot of dialogue, which can be good and can be bad, and you can only save the game at certain points in Persona 5 Royal. And normally I don't like this so much, I kind of like being able to save my game anywhere. But the perfect thing about playing it on Steam Deck is that suspend feature, so you don't have to actually stop at the points that the game wants you to stop. If you need to stop, if you can only play for like 10 or 15 minutes or something like that, then you can just press suspend on the top, press the power button, and off you go, you do something else for a little while, and then you come back to exactly where you were. And this is kind of perfect for this game. You can play this game in bite-sized chunks like that. It means that if you're either going through a lot of dialogue, which can be the case, you can go through a lot of dialogue at once, or if you're going through one of the dungeons in the game and you've not really come to a convenient save point, a convenient stopping point, then you don't have to worry about it. And that's why I think it's perfect for this. Plus, it's a good game for playing handheld anyway, I think. It's one of those games that everybody wanted to come to the Switch a few years ago, and it has come to the Switch now, which is great, but now we actually have it on PC too. We can play it on Steam Deck. I kind of think the Steam Deck is a better option. It runs it better, and then, if you do want to play it on PC later, you've got your cloud save backup. So that's why I think it's great for the Steam Deck. Okay, so this next game might be a bit of an obvious one, but with this list, and hopefully I'm kind of going to do some more of these, what I wanted to do really is, these are sort of my personal recommendations of great games to play. So even though this is an obvious one to some people, I just wanted to include it on there as I do think it's a great option still. And anybody who goes back and goes through this list and any future ones can see, this is one that I recommend. And it's Stardew Valley. I think really everybody knows Stardew Valley by now, and this game is perfect for handheld. It was perfect for handheld on Switch, and I think it's even better on the Steam Deck. The screen is a bit bigger. The battery life is really good on the Steam Deck because Stardew Valley isn't a really demanding game. And while I haven't done it yet, I have read that you can sort of take advantage of modding as well. I've not really been brave enough to try modding on Linux myself, but I think that's a good feature to be able to have if you want to try that down the line. Stardew Valley is sort of that perfect cozy handheld game anyway, really, isn't it? And you could suspend it on this Switch as well, but you can also suspend it on the Steam Deck, so you don't have to worry about finishing each day if you're going to come back to it soon. It's just honestly, I think, one of those perfect games for the Steam Deck. It's the kind of game you can play handheld. You can sink countless hours, hundreds of hours into it. People have put hundreds and thousands of hours into Stardew Valley. I think it's perfect on the Steam Deck. Just try it, I think, honestly. If you're into farming sims still, you haven't played it, or even if you played loads and loads of hours on a different device, you're probably going to enjoy it just as much, if not more, on the Steam Deck, so give it a go. And the last game on the list is Rogue Legacy 2. Now, I specifically picked up Rogue Legacy 2 to play on the Steam Deck. I really enjoyed Rogue Legacy 1, put a lot of time into that, and when Rogue Legacy 2 came out, I was pretty excited, but it was PC only, and before I got my Steam Deck, I wasn't really using my PC because I didn't want to come upstairs and lock myself away in this room, actually, in my office, to play it. So I didn't buy it, but when I got my Steam Deck, it was the first game that I bought specifically to play on Steam Deck, and it's verified, it runs really well, it runs really nicely, and it's just a really good game. If you're not familiar with Rogue Legacy or number 2, it's a roguelike game, no surprises there. And between runs, you can unlock permanent progression, but also you switch characters between runs. You take control of your descendants instead, and each of them has different quirks, fun little different things. Some of them sometimes they're colorblind, they can't see very well. Some of them will jump higher, they'll run faster. There's negative ones as well. And because you pick between 3 options and you have way more classes than 3 in the game, each run is pretty unique, to be honest. The gameplay is really smooth and fluid. And the Steam Deck can run it at 60 frames per second, so that that helps with that smoothness. It runs really nicely, and it's one of those games that if you play it enough, you get really, really skillful, and your runs can go on for a really long time. And this is where I think it comes in really well with the Steam Deck, and it's that suspend feature again. Can you tell that I really like the suspend feature on the Steam Deck since I've been talking about it so much? But it's true. With roguelikes in particular, runs can become really long. The better at playing them you are, the longer the runs can get, and sometimes it's not really convenient to do something like 30, 45, even an hour's run all in one go. But again, with this suspend feature, you don't have to worry about that. You can just play for as long as you have time, pause it by using this suspend feature, and then when you do have time to come back to it, and away you go again. If you're into roguelikes at all, I think this is one that you'll probably really enjoy. And it's a good one for handheld as well. I think you're not really getting any advantage by playing it blown up on a giant screen with all the power of a PS5 or a Series X behind it. You're not really getting a benefit from that. So I think it's a nice, good game to play on handheld. Like I said, suspend feature is perfect for it. And yeah, if you're into roguelikes, give it a go. I think it's really good. It runs really, really well, so that's why I recommend it on the Steam Deck. Well, there we are. Those are my first 5 recommended games on the Steam Deck. As I said, if people like this, I'd kind of like to do some more and slowly build up a longer list of games that I recommend to play on the Steam Deck. So if you liked it, please do, like and subscribe and comment down below if you want to see more of these. And especially if you have more games that you think are really good on Steam Deck and you want me to try them out and include them in future lists, then let me know down in the comments, because that'd be really helpful and I'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.